My name is David Gatimo, urban planner with over 30 years experience, 25 of which were in public service. I'm a member of the AAK Town Planners Chapter. Development permission, we have to look at it in the context of the Physical and Land Use Planning Act, which says that any person who intends to make any form of development must secure planning permission from the county government. Two keywords here, development and permission. Development here means carrying out of any works on land or making material change to any structure on land. In simple terms, it means any works that are conducted on land that are going to change the physical form of land for purposes of development. For development permit, it is a process where any person intending to carry out development must seek permission in a process where one has to lodge an application through a recognized professional so that that application is evaluated to ensure that it is in conformity with the planning policies, with the standards and the regulations that are set out for the development of that particular area. This assists in ensuring that there is harmony, there is order, there is safety, and good public health standards within human settlements or neighborhoods. There are two ways of doing it. There's a manual way and the online way. The manual way requires whatever type of application you need to do. You can have it prepared using printed documents, and you can also have it lodged online. But before explaining how it is lodged, we need to understand the types of developments that are there. We have planning developments that are lodged by planners. We have developments that are lodged by architects. And for planners, we have developments such as land subdivisions. We have applications such as change or extension of use. For architectural applications, we have building plans that can constitute a residential development, commercial buildings, industrial buildings, institutional buildings, and so on and so forth. So for one to lodge an application, if it is for a planning project, you have to do it through a registered planner. If it is for a building, you have to do it through a registered architect. For the manual submission, one has to present manual documents in the county offices at the sub-county level. And this one has to pay the requisite submission fees, and it is processed by evaluating what is required in as far as planning requirements, planning policies stipulate, and it is also circulated to what we call relevant authorities, who also evaluate it to ensure that it is in conformity with their requirements, their development requirements. Whereupon, if it is satisfactory, if it meets all the requirements of the relevant authorities, then a development permit is granted. The same thing also applies for a building plan. Once submitted, it has to be circulated to the relevant authorities for evaluation, and if it meets all the requirements, then it is also accorded a development permit. For online submissions, one has to have an account. The submitting professional has to have an account, which one now lodges the application and has to be received on what we call the back end of the county. And the evaluation is similar to the manual evaluation, only that it is done online. And also the circulation to the relevant authorities is also done online. It is a more of an efficient way of carrying out the process of development applications. And of course, it is in line with the changing times, because now we're in the ICT age. And it is also part of what we call e-governance, making development applications easy through e-governance. For one to carry out a development, I've mentioned the first thing you need to put on board, you have to hire the services of a professional. The documents that you require, you must have documents pertaining to the land that you intend to develop. That is a title. It can also be a letter of allotment in case it is an allocation of a parcel of land that originally was public. But this letter of allotment must be based on an approved part development plan. You can also use a share certificate if this subdivision, if the land is being developed on a plot that is emanating from a land subdivision that has been done by a private company and it has an approved subdivision. So if you have a share certificate against an approved subdivision, it is also acceptable. You also need to attach a survey map or survey plan showing the extent or the dimensions of your land. If a survey plan is not available, you need the services of a surveyor to generate a beacon certificate to show the extent of your land so that when you are carrying out the development, you do not encroach beyond the limits of your land. You also require to have documents to show that you do not owe the county government any money such as land rates or any requisite monies to do with the services that are offered by the county. So that becomes part of the submission documents to ensure that you are getting a service from the county when they are satisfied you're compliant in all the requirements of the county requirements. The e-permit is paid by the developer, and the charges vary from county to county, but these are calculated depending on either the plinth that is the surface area or the development that you intend to carry, or if it is a subdivision, it is charged per subplot. So the parameters of charges are tied to specific charging requirements. For buildings, as I've said, it could be plinth area, it could be the percentage of the cost of a building. For change of use, it could be a percentage of the value of the land or per plot. So it varies from county to county. It varies from county to county, and generally you find for a simple domestic house, say a 3-bedroom house that is approximately 75 to 100 square meters, it wouldn't cost more than 25 or 30,000 Kenya shillings. So that's a guideline. And there are also counties that charge approximately 1% of the cost of the development. So if you are putting up a house of approximately 3 million, 1% is approximately 30,000. So that's the range. For a simple and straightforward development, similar to what I've just mentioned of a bungalow, 2 weeks at most is sufficient for one to lodge an application and receive an approval. For the online, it is very easy. The counties that have online platforms, every stage one receives a notification through text message, and that is very, very efficient. But also for manual processes, one can present yourself, the county offices, to monitor the progress. But the online system has proved to be very, very friendly and efficient for the developers and also the professionals alike. Yes, it is a responsibility to engage the professionals and also developers alike to share with them the information on the planning requirements. If you present yourself to a county and you like to know what are the minimum or the use that one can put your property into, though that information is available. We have what we call the local physical development plans that stipulate the kind of development, the standards of development that is required on any specified area. So by presenting yourself or going online, because many counties are also having online platforms, one is able to access the local physical development plans that give guidance on how you can develop your property. A permit, you can receive it manually, and in the recent past we have seen permits are being developed with a digital signature, with a QR code. So there are advances that are coming up with making it more efficient, and I believe this is the way counties should go. For now, we have 4 counties that are having these systems in place: Nairobi, was the first one in 2012. It was followed in quick succession by Kisumu, followed by Mombasa and Kiambu. We have other 3 counties that are at an advanced stage of developing their systems. This is Kajiado, Nakuru, and Machakos. This has been done in close collaboration with the AK and IFC, and it is really transformed the way of doing business in as far as development permits are issued by the counties. It is a huge transformation in bringing in efficiency and transparency and the productivity of county government workers in rolling out appropriate support to developers in their respective counties. Every county, the point of focus is the county director of physical and land use development. But we also have devolved units. Devolved units are either the sub-county level or at the municipality level. It depends on the status or where your land is situated. If your land falls within an area that has been conferred a municipality status, that municipality has a planner who is in charge. If it is at the sub-county level, there is a planner who is in charge there. So the focal point for lodging an application at the lowest level of governance is at the municipality level or sub-county. As I mentioned earlier, you need to have the ownership documents. That is the title on the survey plan. And one other document that can certify you are the rightful owner of a property is also having a property search. A search obtained from the county land registry that confirms you are the rightful owner of that land. The Physical and Land Use Planning Act stipulates that a development application should be approved within 60 days. And under very, very rare circumstances would an application go beyond such a time. So as the law says, if it exceeds the time limits that are provided in law, then you can assume your development is approved if it goes beyond the stipulated time. That is when you don't have any communication or any reason whatsoever that you've been given to show why your application has not been approved. But these are very rare occurrences or they don't occur at all. The mechanism of enforcement. We have what we call an enforcement notice. An enforcement notice is served on a development if it is not approved at all, or if it is approved and you are carrying out the development contrary to what is approved. So one has to confine the development to what has been approved. And should you feel you need to alter the approved development, then you lodge your application anew to show the changes you intend to carry out, so that you're in conformity with what you're carrying out is in conformity with what is approved. Approvals for development is not a favor, it is a right. So if you have your application lodged by your consultant, the architect or the planner or the engineer for that matter, and if it is in compliance with the planning requirements of the zone where your development application falls, and if the development has met all the standards and specifications, then there's no reason whatsoever for one to be pushed to pay a bribe. And the online system, I can say, is also brought in a very good dimension in that it minimizes the interaction between the county officials where incidences of bribery occur. In this situation, an online application is put and you don't have any human interaction. It's only an exchange of comments. If there are any comments that accrue from a development that require to be amended, then the professional or your consultant ought to amend to ensure this total compliance. The other important thing is that the planning policies, the standards and specifications are public documents. So if there's any issue being raised by a county official, you have an obligation to cross-reference or to check whether that is the correct position that is in those particular documents, so that you don't have a matter that is being imposed on your development that is not official. So the question of corruption here should not arise at all. My closing remarks is to encourage Kenyans as much as possible to seek development permission. It is easy, it is friendly, and ultimately it affords us to have neighborhoods that are well organized, that are secure, that are functional, and become safe for each and every one of us. If you don't do so, then we'll end up having slums that no one would like to see happening in any neighborhood, or to live in any neighborhood that is not properly planned. And it is upon us as residents of this country and our towns to have our developments approved. It is also important to ensure that when putting up a development, a lot of money goes into every development, and these are investments, they are lifetime investments. So before making the decision of how to put up the development, it's good to consult the right professionals, the architects, the planners, and generally all the professionals in the built environment, to ensure that you do the right development to secure the best opportunities and reap the best benefit of your development. Thank you.